A good Saturday evening to everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on Top Rope Spoilers. I am Steve, one of the co-hosts of On the Ring Apron. My co-host Kia, working the camera behind us, will be joining us here in just a moment. Before we do get started, though, I did want to go ahead and preface our show tonight by sending out our heartfelt wishes to all of our followers who have given us so much positive support over the last 2 weeks. We ended up having a passing in the family, someone who was relatively close to a lot of our family members. So that's kind of taken its toll on us, and we've kind of had to step away from our shows for the last couple of weeks. The last time you saw us, we were doing the draft. We did the special Connor's Cure plate exchange. But then we've kind of been quiet for the last couple of weeks, but we've gotten everything for the most part pretty well figured out. So, hopefully, we're going to be able to be back on our regular schedule. And what better way to start than with a WWE pay-per-view stepping in. Hey, welcome to the show.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
They can't answer. This isn't a call-in show.
Either way, hopefully everyone is doing well, so...
Could we make this a call-in show? How do we do this?
I don't know.
We need to figure this out. Somebody figure this out. How can we make this a call-in show? How can we have people be able to call in and give us their thoughts on our matches? But
hopefully everyone is doing well, and Corona and everything else, with everything else going on. Like my husband has already said, we've had a lot going on as far as passings in the family and a bunch of other stuff, but we're glad to be back with you, and hopefully that you're glad you're back with us.
Exactly. And what a great pay-per-view we've got coming up this weekend. As we said, this is Top Rope Spoilers, where we give our official predictions for WWE and NXT-based pay-per-views, with the new UK one coming out potentially later next month. But for tomorrow's pay-per-view, we have WWE Hell in a Cell, one of the most dangerous as well as usually the most gory pay-per-views that we've had, with maybe Extreme Rules being the only other one that's in question, and a number of great matches put on the card. They're definitely going for quality over quantity on this particular pay-per-view, because usually in most of our WWE pay-per-views, we usually have 7, 8, 9 matches somewhere in there. As of the time of this recording, which is less than 24 hours before the show starts, we've only got 5 on the card at the moment.
And they threw this one on last minute.
Exactly. This one wasn't even put on until yesterday.
Until Friday night, yeah.
So, they're definitely hoping for quality over quantity. Maybe not a long pay-per-view, but the matches we've got coming up have definitely been ones that have been riddled with great storyline. A lot of, several months put into each of these, and this is ultimately the culmination of it all, as our next pay-per-view for WWE will be Survivor Series, where we kind of break off from the storylines for a little while to get brand supremacy, especially with the new brands now starting up after the draft.
So for those who are tuning in for the first time or who don't know, this will be your first time. Like my husband has already stated, we like to actually take the time to give you our explanations, our predictions, and our explanations for why we picked it. And so hopefully you'll get into it and you want to come back for more.
That's the whole idea. And for those of you who have joined us before, you're very familiar with how this works. We each make our predictions. We have a reaction show after immediately following the end of the pay-per-view, so we can give our thoughts on the matter. We enter this pay-per-view. This is pay-per-view number 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is pay-per-view 11. Sorry, I hadn't stopped to count. Amazing I can count that high. Pay-per-view 11, and right now we enter this pay-per-view with Kia and I both having the exact same record. We each have gotten 49 picks correct, 24 incorrect, and we've also had 2 matches over the course that have been no contest or the match didn't happen.
Exactly.
So 49 apiece heading into a pay-per-view with an odd number of matches. Someone's going to break the ties. We head and get ready for the next TakeOver, as well as possibly Survivor Series, and of course War Games likely coming up as well. But with that, let's get started. We actually haven't flipped the coin yet. We didn't do that before we show, so if Kia want to grab a coin, let's go ahead and find out who's going to go first. Usually we do this before the shows, but you guys will actually get a chance to see all the stuff behind the curtain.
Okay, heads or tails?
Tails, please.
Okay.
That is a tails, all right. Okay.
For those who can't see it,
bring it in close so they can see it being made official. Too close.
There you go.
With that, I will choose to go first. So we will begin with our opening match. First of all, 3 of these matches taking place inside Satan's structure of Hell in a Cell, but the first 2 we'll be talking about will not involve that. The first one is a match that you noted just was added yesterday off of Smackdown. It is a match that has been several months in the workings between Otis and The Miz, with this one being for the Money in the Bank contract. Now, this will only be, if I recall, the 4th time that the actual briefcase will be defended in a match. Otis has held it since WrestleMania. since Money in the Bank immediately following WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And The Miz has been sitting here going, okay, he's never going to cash it in. He's just holding on to it. Let's give it to someone who's actually going to use it. And The Miz has gone, predominantly under this prospect that, I've been Mr. Money in the Bank. I've cashed it in successfully. I main evented WrestleMania by winning the WWE Championship. And then, of course, also taking into consideration, you've got two people on two different brands now, with Otis being on SmackDown, Miz now being moved to Raw. This potentially changes the entire dynamic of how the cash-in could happen.
Yeah. My storyline, y'all understand, like I said, this was the last match that was noted on last night's Friday Night SmackDown, and it was in Otis's favor until The Miz, what I feel like is a Miz tactic, is something he'll bribe you to get what he wants. I mean, he's The Miz. That's what he does. He's got the money. But I have been behind Otis 100% with the Mandy story, like getting the girl getting Mandy, him cashing in. Even though I know he's a heavy-set, bigger boy, he's actually gotten to the point where I've, shipped him and Mandy, and I've loved this story, and it broke my heart to have Miz. And as y'all know I love Miz. I love him. I followed his career from the time he started, reality TV all the way up till now. But the fact that you would have someone like The Miz who will do everything in his power to separate not only Otis and Mandy, but at the same time, not only are you separating him, now you've put him on separate shows. Now you're trying to separate him from his Money in the Bank briefcase. To me, I feel, you could be doing something more important than dealing with Otis.
Well, either way, also, he's doing what he needs to do and using the privileges that he has with USA to be able to get himself possibly to the WWE Championship, a title he hasn't held in a long time, and a lot of people feel he should have had another run much sooner than he's had now.
And, I agree. I really do. Miz is, to me, people could not see him getting to this point in his career. I've always rooted for him, pulled for him. I think he's awesome. I think he's great. But honestly, in my opinion...
Nice plug there, right? Y'all caught that, right?
In my opinion, I love Otis, but I also love The Miz, too. So for me, this is going to be kind of a conflicting story or a conflicting prediction or pick or whatever.
Well, also, you have to take into consideration with the Money in the Bank contract being able to be cashed in at any time, you have to imagine this match is going to happen prior to all the the Hell in a Cell matches that will happen earlier in the evening. It doesn't matter because if The Miz wins, the contract's now on Raw, and he potentially could cash in on either Drew or Randy Orton, a person he's already cashed in successfully once on in his career. But flipping the same token, if Otis wins, you've got Roman and Jey Uso, who are also going to be competing in a very atypical type of Hell in a Cell match that we'll be getting to in a little bit. So the prospect is there for whoever wins, not only to win the contract tonight, but there's also a pretty decent opportunity for them to be able to cash it in later that evening against a person who's going to escape the cell but likely be exhausted or possibly completely beat up by that point.
Yeah.
So we get to the official pick. I love the Money in the Bank cash-in. It's one of the most exciting things, especially when you have the prospect of it happening at any time. And they are really sucking people in because, of course, you gave Otis the great storyline at WrestleMania. He got the girl. He got Mandy. And then he shocks the world by winning Money in the Bank. And it seems like everything's gone for him. And then The Miz has made it his goal to basically make sure Otis has nothing. He's taken away his brother. He's taken away his peach. And now he's trying to take away his briefcase and his world title opportunity. If you look at it from a storyline perspective, who could make a better world champion? It's probably The Miz.
Oh, I know it is.
But you want Otis to at least be able to cap off something here. But at the end of the day, I don't see The Miz not showing up without a plan.
Exactly.
It's basically, now, granted, this is going to be very much like a championship match.
Yeah.
Otis has the champion's advantage of having the briefcase, so Miz must beat him by by pinfall or by submission. A DQ, the briefcase doesn't change hands, so The Miz has to find a way to win and win cleanly. He will use everything to his perspective. He will use everything to his advantage. Otis has had the year of a lifetime, but I don't think it's going to go the way he plans. I like The Miz winning this and winning Money in the Bank at the same time.
See, I told you I love both. I've been the person that I got emotional and I got sucked in when Otis was doing his thing. He got Mandy and then he got the briefcase, and people have viewed him as he's a bigger boy. He's not the brightest crown on the box. Everything else. The way I look at it, he's gotten the girl, he's gotten the briefcase. To me, I feel like Otis has gotten more smarter. As if you've been looking at SmackDown, he's had Tucker explain things that he didn't understand. So in my opinion, I feel like Miz he is the Miz. He's going to find some underhanded tactic because that's just what he does in his role of being awesome. Yes, another cheap plug. But at the same time, I feel like Otis, there is a possibility with everything that has been going his way. I mean, his year has been going better than everybody else's. I'm going to go ahead and put it like that. I feel like, in my opinion, the Miz probably will have Morrison there, and Otis will have Tucker. Maybe, who knows, with it being a Hell in a Cell match, they may have Mandy ringside. So I feel, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I feel like Otis will pull it off one more time. He didn't pull it off in the courtroom, so that is, to me, leading up for him to be able to keep the Money in the Bank briefcase and be able to cash in when he is good and ready. And hopefully this whole thing is done and over with. So I'm pulling for Otis.
You're taking Otis.
I'm taking Otis.
Gotcha.
Stakes and weights.
Alrighty. Well, we'll see how that pans out. But obviously, at the end of the night, they're setting the door for possibly a cash in later that night, because obviously whoever wins knows that the champion of their choosing, and again, with it being a dual branded pay-per-view, that doesn't necessarily mean the Miz can't decide to jump the other way, or Otis, if he retains, can't jump the other way.
Exactly.
And be the champion of a different brand at the same time. So we'll see.
Exactly.
Our second match is the only match on the card that does not have like some type of title or some type of, item on the line, but this one's more of a personal storyline than anything else, as we have the returning Elias having his first one-on-one match back, and he'll be taking on Jeff Hardy.
Glad to have him back, by the way.
All of this kind of culminated because of what happened about 8 months ago, when you had a storyline where Jeff Hardy was still going through his rivalry with Sheamus and him battling his addiction to alcohol. And then there was a setup where Elias was hit by a car out in the parking lot, and it was believed that Jeff Hardy was the culprit, even though it was all but definitively proven that it was Sheamus.
It was Sheamus, yeah.
So Elias has now come back and has definitively said, I know who I saw. I know who got out of that car. I know who hit me, and it was Jeff Hardy.
Okay.
So he seems adamant, he seems determined that it was Hardy that did it, and he wants revenge. You got to understand it. If that's what you truly think, it's hard when you've had nothing to do for 8 months but sit on the shelf. It's hard to not sit here and want that match, and you're taking on a person who, during the time away, won the Intercontinental title and held it for quite some time. So this should be a fun one to see.
Again, like I said, I'm glad we have Elias back. I don't know if I'll walk with him or not, but we'll have to wait and see on my pick. I feel like Jeff has overcome so much in his storyline with Sheamus and Elias, as well as in reality with his addiction and getting better and trying to stay out of trouble and everything else. I feel like Elias saw what he wanted to see. You got hit with a car. So you could have seen a hallucination for all you know. It could have looked like Jeff Hardy to you, but how do you know it wasn't Sheamus? I'm just saying, people see what they see when they feel how they feel, and he felt some type of way. So of course he's going to accuse Jeff, but Jeff being the person that he is, okay, I'll take this match. After this match is said, after this match is done, I don't want you accusing me. I don't want you sitting here saying it was me. And if I have to prove to you that it was Sheamus, so be it. If I have to beat your ass to prove that it was Sheamus, I will. And something tells me that Hardy will come with some type of proof, some type of footage to clear his name of, it wasn't me, it was Sheamus. And I feel like, this match will be a good match. But after the match is said and the match is done, then Elias is going to continue to hold that revenge, and he's going to want to get it on Sheamus if Hardy comes with the proof that he needs.
All I know is that it seems like Elias has definitely done a good job of taking all of that anger and that frustration and the fire in his belly, and he put it into his music. Did you hear his concert last week?
I've been listening to the last couple of weeks. That sounds really good.
I'm not even a huge fan of that type of music, but even I was sitting there listening to his concert on Raw, and I was like,
now see,
I can get into this.
Now see, I love music. I love the whole, the guitar and the solos and everything else. And, at first I did not get behind it because I was like, okay, it's just another ploy. But his music has gotten really, really good. I feel like, honestly, if he wasn't wrestling, I could see him getting into the studio doing a CD.
Well, he technically is.
Oh, is he really?
So, he's got an album coming out Monday.
Oh,
An entire album.
Well, I'll have to check it out.
So what do you got?
I am going to have to say I'm not going to walk with Elias on this go-round. I want to see how it pans out with this match. I will pull for Hardy. I've pulled for Hardy over a lot of things, except for the Sami Zayn win. I can't believe I pulled for Sami Zayn in the last one.
Oh,
either way, I'm getting back on the Hardy ship, and I'm going to pull for Hardy.
So you're taking Jeff Hardy?
Yes, I am.
All righty. Revenge can do a lot of things towards, a person's mindset. When you feel like you have been done wrong and wrong unfairly, it can really toy with your mind. It really, in both storyline as well as in reality. There are times when, a person, hypothetically, you get fired from a job, or, your girlfriend dumps you, or something, and there's really no rhyme or reason as to why it happened. It just happened. And you feel like, I did everything I was supposed to do, and I did everything right, and yet I was still punished for it. This is what Elias feels like at this particular moment.
Yeah.
I was doing everything right, and then I was punished and lost 8 months of my career, and possibly could have lost my life because of somebody deciding they wanted to be stupid. Now, whether that was Jeff Hardy, or whether it was Sheamus, or whether it was somebody else, we have no idea. There are a lot of redheaded people in this company. Sami Zayn, Lars Sullivan, just to name off a few right off the top of my head. So... in his mind, though, he has been dead set on it being Jeff Hardy since the very beginning. And, whether Hardy's name is fully cleared in that particular instance or not, this one is more about respect versus, accusations. But revenge can go a long way until all of a sudden that anger runs out and you realize that you're going to have ability and you're going to have something to back it up. With that being the place, though, I think 8 months of time is a long time for you to think about how you want something to go down. And if it goes down the way that he hopes it would, I do believe that Elias will have the upper hand in this particular instance, and it will be just enough to push him over the former champ. I like Elias in this match.
Okay. So 2 picks so far, everybody, and we've picked differently.
So far. So before we move into our 3 championship matches, let's just go ahead and just say on record, any of these 3 matches could main event tomorrow. I think Reigns and Uso will ultimately be the one they pick. That's why they're going last on our pick. But the reality is, any of these 3 matches are going to be main event caliber matches. They're all going to be inside Hell in a Cell. So you add that element into it. And considering that with only 5 matches on the card so far, they're going to give each of these a ton of time to be able to make it work.
Again, it's the quality.
Exactly. Quality over quantity this time around. But we're going to move to what we feel. Again, these are in no order of who we think it's going to be. It's just how we think it's, how we believe we would run it if we were the ones setting up the pay-per-view. And we will begin with our only women's match of the night. And it is the culmination of over a 5-year-plus storyline as we finally get the showdown inside Hell in a Cell between Bayley and Sasha Banks for the Smackdown Women's Championship. Nowhere left to run for the role model.
Oh my gosh, y'all, I know like everybody else has been waiting on this. I've been waiting, y'all have been waiting. It's going to go down. Just imagine that in my Kevin Hart voice. I love Sasha. There is no way I can't. I mean, Bayley's good. Bayley's cool. Bayley's been playing like a major badass heel. I give her that. I give her props. I love the whole transformation. But you cannot mess with Sasha in this. She be rocking the black leather. She rocking it. She has the upper hand. Here's why. She's been in 2 Hell in a Cell matches. 2, if I got it correct. Now, Bayley, mean, sadistic, it could favor either one. But, in my opinion, upper hand goes to Sasha. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, it's interesting that you choose to bring up the fact that Sasha has been in 2 Hell in a Cell matches, and that is true. Let's also know she lost them both. She lost to Charlotte, and she lost to Becky Lynch. So Sasha, while at the same time she has the experience factor, she does not have the experience in terms of being able to find a way to get that last little bit to get over to win a match like this. As Charlotte and Becky, granted both of them at their own great abilities, has always been just one step better than the boss in those particular matches. Bayley, we noted earlier this week that Bayley actually hit a major milestone, is if you combine every possible women's championship that you can win in the company, the SmackDown, the Raw, NXT, Tag, NXT UK, if you add all of it together, total number of days that you've been champion, Bayley actually just passed the record for the most days in the modern era. The only person who's had it more was Fabulous Moolah, who of course has over like 10,000 days as champion. That's because she was women's champion for over 30 years.
Yeah.
That's a record that'll never be touched, but in the modern era, if you take away that one, she is the longest reigning WWE Women's Champion of all time across all championships. So quite an accomplishment considering that she's only held a grand total of 5 championships since joining the main roster, if you include her one run in NXT as well. Bayley has held a tight grip on that SmackDown Women's Championship, and she has taken down all comers, including Sasha, granted by disqualification. But this one just feels like it's about more than just the title.
Oh,
This,
it is.
You know,
It
I
is.
said already, this is a WrestleMania main event caliber type of match, even if the title wasn't on the line. So
Oh, yeah.
adding the one championship Sasha doesn't have yet, the one thing that's separating her from being Grand Slam Banks, you know, it adds a little more fuel to the fire, but then you add in their rivalry, and also adding in the fact that with Survivor Series coming up, regardless of who wins this match, one of them is going to end up having to represent SmackDown as the women's champion going into Survivor Series. So then this storyline probably is going to end right here. You know, I don't know if it would, start up again heading into WrestleMania, but somebody is going to be the old victor in this, and that's what we've got to try to figure out.
Here's my thing. I feel like these two were best friends. They're former best friends. They know each other so well. They've worked together. They train together. They live together. They travel together. So as being, former best friends, you're going to know Bayley, and Bayley is going to know you. So I feel like, again, both of them, it could go either or. But Bayley did Sasha so wrong when she put her neck in the chair and slammed it and let her get injured, and she was out for a little bit. I feel like Sasha has had to be sidelined more or less. And, we sat here and said, Elias had time to think about it, as well as probably hitting the gym like I noticed everybody else is doing in the year 2020. But Sasha's had time to think about all the good times and the bad times and how Bayley hurt her and what she did and why did you do it, and I thought we were cool. I feel like the boss is going in, with some real heated, real passionate, emotional, raw feelings in this match. And I feel like Bayley, yeah, she's a heel, but honestly,
Sasha's not exactly playing a face in this either.
No,
I mean,
she's not.
this is
She's
heel
not.
versus bigger heel.
this is exactly with Bayley being the bigger heel. But
Well, that's opinionated. I know plenty of people who see things from Bayley's side. How many times has Sasha turned her back on me over the years? How many times has she left me out to rot? She's the one who left for the main roster, leaving me in NXT to fend for myself.
That is true.
It's been Sasha for a lot of the years has been the one that's left Bayley in the dust, and finally turnabout's fair play. I know plenty of people who are siding with Bayley on this.
Well, I mean, I've always been a huge fan of Sasha over Bayley, so I can tell you for a fact that it is going to be what it's going to be. But the thing is, you gonna have a good match no matter who wins. And yes, I know who my pick is, but these two women right here, honestly, I would have loved to see them be main eventing, and maybe, just maybe,
This right here is the only reason it's not.
exactly.
This one right here. I think they would have main evented over them.
Yep.
This match right here is the only reason they're not.
But I think this is going to be a good match all the way around. I want to see how
But
Bayley.
you add in the combination of adding Hell in a Cell to it, as well as 5+ years of storyline. All the titles they've won together, all the titles they've stopped each other from being able to get over the years, all the times they've helped each other, all the times they've turned on each other. I mean, this is a match that basically is going to have everyone's heart out on their sleeve. No matter who you're picking, it's got to live up to the hype, and hopefully it does. Let's just say one thing from a personal standpoint, Haley and Savannah.
Oh, yeah.
We hope y'all can still be friends when this is over.
Please
because,
do not burn it down. Please do not burn it down.
Suffice to say, one of them is going to be very happy, one of them is going to be very sad, because honestly, I think this is the culmination. I think, with Survivor Series and then the lead up into Royal Rumble coming up, I think this is it. I think this is where this rivalry ends, and whoever wins it out is going to represent SmackDown going into Survivor Series, and then going to have new challengers. You've got fresh blood now in SmackDown.
Oh,
You've
my
got
goodness,
people
yes.
like Bianca Belair
yes.
that's over there now, who they're giving a huge hype to.
Yes, girl, go for
you look at Natalya, who's moved over, a former SmackDown Women's Champion herself. So, there's fresh blood over there now, and new people that are ready to get that title run. But let's get to our pick, because we could stand here for an hour and talk about just this one match.
Yep.
Bayley, as I said, has always somehow seemingly found a way.
Yeah.
Whether it's skirting around the rules or whether it's finding a sneaky way, even using Sasha at times to be able to find her way through. But this time she's got Sasha not only not in her corner, but also is going to be the person standing directly across. And you did bring up a valid point that Sasha has the experience advantage because she's been in Hell in a Cell. She knows what it means. But Bayley is no slouch herself. You don't hold the championship for over 500 days over a period of 2 years without being good at what you do.
Exactly.
And right now no one has been able to step up to Bayley. And if Sasha can't do it, I'm not sure who can, maybe minus a Bianca Belair
I was
or
thinking the
somebody
same
else.
thing, yeah.
But that's looking ahead to the future. This just screams emotion, and it's going to come down to which one can hold their emotions better, which one is going to be the one who is not going to lose their mind at the last second, who's not going to be the one who at the very last second, when they're ready to deliver that final blow, are you going to be able to do it, or is 5 years of friendship going to stop someone from being able to make that final blow? At the end of the day, I think only one person out of the two is going to be prepared to make that move, while the other one could potentially hesitate, and that could cost that person the match. I'm going with my wallet and my gut over my heart. My heart will pull for Sasha Banks, but I'm picking Bayley to win and retain.
Now, mind you've never met Bayley in person, so when you meet Sasha next time, I will be bringing this footage to let you.
Can you also bring up the fact that I took her 5 times straight before this? I think Bayley will be the one that will be able to lay the final blow when the moment comes. But let's put it this way. I won't be sad if Sasha wins. In fact, I will still be jumping around my living room, just like when Sammy won and you jumped.
Oh my God, I can't believe that. Either
You're
way,
up.
I believe both of them have emotions running high. I believe both of them will get emotional. I've seen them both do it before at separate times in a separate match and in the same match together. Me, on the other hand, if you saw what I saw, and I think I sent you some videos yesterday, I feel like Sasha's ready. I don't think there's nothing that is stopping her right now.
Does her neck look like she's ready?
I did not see no way that it did not look like she was ready. I feel like I'm gonna have to take the opposite.
Okay.
I'm rooting for my girl.
It's boss time.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So 3 picks and 3 differences. Boy, we're going to really shatter the scoreboard. Either one of us is going to go way ahead or way behind. By the way, here's a little riddle for you guys as we move into our next match. If we ever get the dream match between Sasha Banks and Toni Storm, what time is it?
Boss time!
Or is it Tony time? Or is it something else? Think about it. Somebody answer that for us. See what you think. What would you pick? But we move into our penultimate match, which is for the WWE Championship. The third of what we expect will be the final match of this trilogy between WWE Champion Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton inside Hell in a Cell. Now, Orton has done a fantastic job of making sure it is clear that he holds a significant experience advantage in terms of Hell in a Cell. This is going to be his 8th. Drew has never stepped inside Hell in a Cell. So this will be brand new to Drew McIntyre in terms of the pain and the anguish that Hell in a Cell can bring. Mick Foley has said it himself before, no one leaves Hell in a Cell the same. It takes years off your career because of just what you will go through. On the flip side, though, Drew has taken on any and every challenge that has come his way. He has been more than a fighting champion. He has taken on every challenge that has been laid in front of him and has come through them all successfully, including twice over Randy Orton already. But the Viper inside of Hell in a Cell is a whole different beast.
I feel like you're right. And we're going to say it, and I know it's been said several times before, I feel like Randy is at his best, but at the same time, he is at his most dangerous, and especially with him being in Hell in a Cell and having the experience and having not just the experience of, being in Hell in a Cell, but being around a little bit longer than Drew, I feel like, yeah, it's a possibility he could take it, but at the same time, Drew is not the one to back down from any challenge. As we all saw with the Dolph match, he let Dolph decide the rules, and he still won that match. I feel like the thing with this is he mentally ready? Because I know these two have been landing blows for blows, and I'm not surprised how neither one of them have a concussion right now. These two right here just have been back and forth at each other for the last, I say, several months. And so, in my opinion, it all comes down to who wants it more. Does Drew want to retain that title? How bad does Randy want it? Are we going to see a RKO out of nowhere like we normally do, but is he going to use the structure to his advantage? I feel like the structure should be used to his advantage, and yeah, it does take years off your life, but I feel like these two men are in good enough shape that I think they'll be fine.
You also look at the idea that Drew has taken on any and all comers, and bravo to him for doing so. But he has chosen one last time to, again, accept another challenge from Randy Orton because Orton simply won't go away.
No.
And whoever does end up surviving this match, as well as the last match, better put their head on a swivel because it doesn't matter how much you get tore up or you get beat up. If whoever call it spade to spade, whoever survives this match is going to have to immediately turn around and wonder who potentially down here might be waiting, because Otis or the Miz most definitely is vindictive like that, to where he would do it. You know, who is going to be the person that is going to, you know, be the person that's going to be sitting back there and waiting. And then, of course, you know, the ultimate possibility that I had been, you know, possibly considering is what happens if one of these two matches happens first, and then before this match happens, Otis comes out and cashes in. You know, then there's no briefcase to fight for, but maybe that match is now a second match for a championship match, because let's say what if you open up the show with McIntyre and Orton, doesn't matter who wins, Otis comes out, cashes in on whoever survives it, because let's say it's McIntyre, Orton lays him out at the end, Otis comes out, cashes in, wins the title. Well, now all of a sudden, later in the card, you now have Otis and Miz, but that now match is now for the WWE Championship.
So we see,
So, you know, certainly some possibilities open there.
That'll be fun.
You know, Drew has done everything you've asked him to do. He's been the champion we needed in 2020.
Oh my goodness,
you know,
yes.
In a year where, you know, maybe a person like him would not necessarily have been as over. You keep hearing the fans, and people don't want his run to end.
I don't.
I mean, even to a person that most people like, and that is Randy Orton. You know, most people do like him. Most people like what he brings. His pedigree, first ballot Hall of Famer. No debate at all.
Most definitely.
So, you know, is this where Drew finally bites off more than he can chew, or does he have one last Claymore for Orton to finally silence him once and for all? Get to the pick. You're up first, so who you got?
I'm not going to even sit here and waste my time explaining anything. Y'all already know.
There will be no wasting of time, no more than we already have.
You already know who I'm pulling for. I'm pulling for Drew, and that's not going to change. Again, I love Randy Orton and everything that he comes with, and I've been here watching him since 2005. But my pick is in my heart and everything, and in my brain, and if I had money in my wallet, which I don't, would go to Drew.
Alrighty.
So I'm picking my baby.
Make it official. The fact is that, you know, we talked about, you know, Sasha's record in Hell in a Cell earlier. Well, Randy Orton, this will be his 8th one, but he hasn't always won all of them. You know, he has been on the wrong end of a couple of them. He has lost a Hell in a Cell to Triple H. He has lost a Hell in a Cell to John Cena. You know, so it's not like he just comes in and just dominates this particular location. You know, he has been beaten by other people inside of this satanic structure himself. Drew is more than up to the challenge, despite the fact that he definitely will not have the experience advantage. But he's also been at disadvantages before and has been able to manage to pull through. I don't anticipate he will go in with any other mindset than just, I'm just going to kick your head off.
Claymore you.
But that's been the idea, is that every single time, because of what Orton did to the Legends a couple of weeks ago, his determination is to beat up Orton at any and all opportunities. And now they're going to be locked inside of a structure to where Orton's not going to be able to get away, but that also could favor him because, you know, as you well know, a snake trapped in a corner is one of the most dangerous animals you can ever face.
Yes.
So Orton is going to show up. He's going to have a plan. He's going to come ready. You know, but will that be enough? You look at a fighter like a Drew McIntyre who has taken on people like Brock Lesnar, who has taken on Dolph Ziggler with him picking the rules. He's beaten Orton twice. You know, is there a Money in the Bank cash in potentially waiting at the end? You know, we'll have to see. But at the end, Drew has been a person that has been seemingly a step of Orton just about every step of the way. You know, for the most part, Orton's gotten a little snippet victory every now and then. But in the end, it will be the Claymore outlasting the RKO. This will be the first pick. You and I are picking the same. I am also taking Drew McIntyre to retain. All I'm going to say is head on a swivel once it's over, because, you know, someone could be down here waiting. So, you know, watch your head when you decide you're done.
I did like the end of Raw, how it played out. Randy Orton was giving his, you know, Hell in a Cell speech, and Drew came out and said what he was going to say, and Randy Orton said, "You can't get to me in here." Did you see that brother? Did you see the brother pull out like bolt clippers?
Yeah.
He came prepared.
Watch this.
He came prepared. That was humorous. So for our last match...
And that moves us to our final match of the evening. And again, as I said, I feel like any of the last three matches could have potentially main evented.
Yeah, it could have.
We'll have to pause for just a second. Sorry, y'all.
What are you doing?
Handle him.
So, yeah. So our little one is trying to tell us to kind of, get a move on, so we're going to do our best, give you the best quality while still trying to make it effective.
Yep, because we only ask our teenage son to keep him in front of the TV and quiet for 5, 10, 15 minutes, however long we're in here. We're probably at about a half hour by now. But either way, we move to our final match of the evening. And this one, as we said, is going to be inside Hell in a Cell, but with a special addition to it. This is a Hell in a Cell I Quit match between family members, Universal Champion, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, and Jey Uso.
Is that what you call him?
The Tribal Chief?
Is that what you call
Damn
him?
right, he is the Tribal Chief.
Says
Says him. And guess what? And guess what? Part of the stipulation of this is that the Usos have to fall in line and acknowledge it if Jey can't get the job done. So we move into this, and this one has been one to where we've begged, we've pleaded with Vince for about 5 or 6 years to give Roman Reigns the heel push that we know he wanted.
Yeah.
And I would argue he has not only done so, he has far exceeded our expectations when it comes to heel Roman Reigns, of just how much of a person and how much of a he can absolutely be when he wants to be. He is saying, I have been the person that has carried this company just like I've carried my family on my back. I am the person who puts food on your table, money in your wallet, fun experiences for your wife, for your kids, for my nephews. And yet, you look at a person like Jey Uso, who granted earned the opportunity to face him once and got tore up pretty bad, and now you add the Hell in a Cell structure with the I Quit stipulation on with it, which means this isn't going to end by a lucky pinfall. This isn't going to end by a lucky submission. Jey Uso is going to have to find a way to push Roman Reigns to the point to where he will say, I quit, I don't want to be the champion anymore. That's a tall task for a person who we've seen have a John Cena-esque mentality of being able to somehow survive out the best. So this is a tall task but also Jey may not quit so easily either, because acknowledging his cousin is something he's already flat out said, I won't do, and you're going to have to beat me to a pulp.
I like, and I'm going to go on record with saying, I love the transformation when it comes to Roman Reigns going from being a former member of the Shield and being like the big, strong brute that's been silent, that's been quiet, and then just being able to work on his craft and work on his mic skills. And I feel like for me, he's come so far since he's been here. And you think, you would have thought it would have been Seth or Dean, but now you're seeing Roman accomplish what a lot of people didn't think he could do, especially on the mic, and he's just gotten so good. But in my opinion, I also feel like this I Quit match, it's very hard for me to watch family go against family, and especially the whole entire world is watching all over the place, and Roman is not giving up. He's not quitting. He's not sitting here saying, he's not backing off. I'm the Tribal Chief, I'm the leader, I'm the ruler, I'm the provider, I'm the one that's been doing everything from our family, and and you wonder how he feels knowing that Heyman gave Jey this opportunity, and now it's just gotten to a point that Heyman has to play in it. Do you think he was pulling for Jey when this happened? Do you think it just kind of happened? Jey, I think all the happy, hee ha ha perks and giggles and dancing and, coming up out of the penitentiary, it's changed him too, because I like it. Jey stated, when people see me, they just see me as the other twin. Which one are you? Which one are you? And I love the fact, and I'm sorry that Jimmy got hurt, speedy recovery, because I like them as a duo. You're looking at a Jey that you've never seen solo go in and have to face his cousin, have to fight, have to pretty much show people what it's like inside of a penitentiary. Not a literal, but... And you look at it, and this match is going to be brutal, This is going to be one where there's going to be tears shed and people are going to be hurt, because there's going to be a psychological part of this as well, because you basically are beating your family to the point to where they are saying, I'm not as good as you, I don't want you to hit me or beat me up anymore, This is not about the title, the Universal title, yes, is on the line, but this is about more than this. From Roman's perspective, this is about the respect that he feels he should have as the leader of his family. I feel like, honestly, to make this match more of a match that's going to pull at your heartstrings, it's already doing that right now over the last couple of matches we've seen between the two of them and the interaction, but to have the families come out and sit ringside or stand on top of the ramp and they just watch as these two beat the holy hell out of each other. That's cheap plug. And just how, after Rome said, if this doesn't work out how you want, your family is out. Your families, your wives, your kids, your, everything, you're out.
You're putting people like Naomi, all of a sudden you're putting Jimmy Uso, you're putting other people's names in your mouth, but basically telling them, like, look, we'll all turn our back on you. You won't be part of this family anymore. You won't be a part of the tribe that I am providing for if I beat you and then you don't fall into line.
Now, I think it will be very, very, very interesting, and this is just me and this is how I feel about it. I feel like it could be very interesting to see an appearance, even though we don't know what's going to happen at Hell in a Cell, from Brock and have him do a little bit of interference. But that's a long stretch. So, it is what it is. And
the idea of Hell in a Cell with no rules. Now, if this was a pinfall match, maybe I'd agree. But with the I Quit stipulation, you're going to have to... This match, I don't think, is going to end by anything physical. The two of them have already proven that they can beat the crap out of each other, and they'll just keep going because I don't see either one of these quitting on physical prowess alone. Yeah. This is going to be a mental game. Mm-hmm. Somebody is going to go in there and is going to do something, whether they're going to, get one of their kids involved or whether they're going to get their wives involved. Maybe Naomi gets drug out there.
What about Tamina?
Or something. Tamina, you don't know. And I think it's going to have to cause one of them to have to make a choice. So that leads me to my pick. Who is going to be the one who can take that last step? Who's going to be the one that is prepared to throw the other one to the side? Because basically it's all on the line here. Mm-hmm. Because Roman has already said flat out, we're only family if you fall into line after I beat you again. I've given you 2 shots at my Universal title. One you earned and one I gave you.
Yeah.
You don't get it done this time. You're fall into line, you accept me for who I am, and you stop this disrespect. Is Jay going to be prepared to handle the responsibilities of being the leader of the family? And assuming Jay pulls the upset, is Roman going to be a guy that is prepared to step into the role of being the subordinate and the beta behind what would be the new tribal chief in Jey Uso, with once again potentially something still sitting down here, head on a swivel, because Jay wins, Roman lays him out because he's angry, cash in happens, next thing you know, Jay's not walking out with the title. So, all things considered, who is going to be prepared to be the one who can make that final move? First of all 3 of these matches have match of the year type caliber, ability on it. Will they live up to that hype? I don't know. But in a match of this caliber, when it's going to come down to someone having to say, I quit, someone willing to say, I don't want you to do this to me anymore, you got to go with Roman. You've got to pick the guy who is going to be able to say he's going to deliver the ass whooping and then deliver it as well. He's proven he can do it. I'm not sitting here telling you Jay won't put up a great fight. Mm-hmm. And Jay will absolutely get pushed further than he's ever been pushed before. But Roman will outlast him, and Roman will get Jay to say, I quit.
I feel like, and I'm glad you brought that up. You have to think, who now has gotten involved with this whole situation between cousin and cousin? Jimmy. Mm-hmm. He has involved himself when he came out the first time and he said, okay, white flag, white towel, he's done.
Leave him alone, he's done.
You're tribal chief, whatever.
Because technically the only reason their first match ended was because Jay refused to quit, and Jimmy finally was like, look, to save your ass, I'll do it. I'll save you.
You gotta fight to, live to fight another day. Again, I feel like he has involved himself, and so be it. As a sibling, you would do that for your sibling, but at the same time, you're having to sit here and tell your cousin, we got this, you good, so forth and so on. I feel like Roman is going to do something underhanded as a heel that he is, and he's playing it out beautifully. I'm not going to sit here and say he's not doing the damn thing.
He's far exceeded anything we would have asked for this.
We should have gotten this Roman a long time ago, but I feel like Roman is going to use an underhanded tactic, play dirty, play foul, use Naomi, use Jimmy, and Jimmy's injured. He's coming back from recovery, and Naomi, was out for a little bit, and she was with her man, she was doing their thing. I feel like he's going to use each and every one of them. And it's going to be Tamina who's going to have to come out and I feel like save the separation between the two. So I feel like as much as I'm going to pull for, Roman, I've picked, how many times have I picked Jay for this?
Once. You picked him last time.
Yeah. And my vote is not going to be any different. I feel he's at this point, You have said if I don't win, our whole entire family's out. Well, fine. If I don't win, at least I have the support of my wife and my brother and his wife and his kids and anybody else that wants to follow behind me, because I have put up a good fight, and I would like you to see that I've put up a good fight, and it's not going to change. That's the mindset of someone who, is locked down in a penitentiary. Another cheap plug. My answer will be Jay.
You're taking Jey Uso again.
I think third time is the charm.
Second.
Okay, well, hopefully this one goes 3, but I don't see it, but I'm moving ahead a little bit.
So 4 picks, and 4 picks different in this one, so could possibly still be tied. One of us could be as much as 4 ahead, so we'll see how it plays out. But that's our official picks for Hell in a Cell. Thank you for everyone who took the time to watch us. Obviously, take the time, just like we will, to enjoy Hell in a Cell tomorrow. A lot of fun possibilities that could happen here. Definitely, as we said already, going for quality over quantity with very few matches, but a lot of fantastic lead-up matches. And then, of course, this starts the road to Survivor Series, always one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. But let's see who's going to walk out champs first. So, take the time. Normally, Kia gives the plug about wash hands and everything else, but we've got a little bit of a different one this time. I'm sure all of you guys are being driven nuts on everything, but we wanted to be the ones to also promote you go out and vote. This is an important time for us in the country. For anybody who's watching from outside America, they're off at this point. But for anyone here in the U.S., take the time to go vote. It is important not just for the presidency and the VP, but also with your local areas, your governors and your members of the Senate, your members of the House. It's very important to know exactly who you're putting in there, who is going to be the people that are going to be making decisions. We hit the reality the other day that this is the final time we're going to vote before we have a presidential election next time, where our oldest is going to be old enough to vote the next time the next president is to be decided. We don't play a lot of politics on here. I've learned that's a very dangerous thing to play. If you're pro-Trump, fine. If you're pro-Biden, fine. Whatever. We're here to talk about wrestling. We're here to have fun. But at the same time, it is important you go out and you do what we feel is your civil duty. Take the time to go out and vote. Make your voice heard. Make your voice known. And that way we know that America will put the person in the Oval Office, in your local markets, in your house, in your home state, as governor or representing yourself in the House or in the Senate. You're putting in the people who need to be there.
Yeah.
So take the time to go out and vote. And now Kia can do her speech.
My thing is, it's October. Don't forget, for anybody that has a family member who is struggling with breast cancer or is a survivor or who is lasting this and is beating this, go ahead, even if it's just a little bit, go ahead and donate. Do what you need to do. Make cupcakes. Go out and run. Whatever they have in your community for breast cancer, go ahead and do it. Be supportive. It is a major cause that I support every year. So with that being said, everybody enjoy the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, and y'all have a good night. I will see y'all tomorrow for my reaction with Steve. Love you. Bye.